right. Da-da-da-ba-doo.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Welcome to the most dangerous show of the week.
I feel like I want to be the Truman Show. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. No, let's not make that a thing. Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The VSC edition. Ooh, I remembered.
Yes, the most dangerous show of the week, and that's not your new hair yet. I'm like
No.
confusing. Like, no, you're putting that in this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm seeing new pinks in it today for some reason.
It's
Okay.
probably the way it's just laying.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art Fiber. In overcast, but going to be warmer today, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be almost spring-like, they were saying.
Yeah.
Low
In the
60s?
Low 60s.
Yeah. In case anyone's wondering what the weather is in Brevard, Western North Carolina. Not the upper elevations, but, you know.
Tomorrow's supposed to be rain.
That's right. That's why Bernie's coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, I am not wearing a sweater because I'm hoping to put on this sweater, but I have to get... The sleeves are really... I thought I was going to finish it last night, and no. Kind of half had a migraine.
Do you want me to show you real quick, like, how I put my sleeves on a sleeve holder and then can, like, know exactly where my pieces go?
That's what I did last night. I think what I do is okay. Do you take half and half?
I do half and half, but I tie a little tiny knot in the end of the thing to where it keeps that space open.
Okay. I didn't do that last night, but I usually just leave it hanging enough, and I'll figure it out. I'm also starting on the side where, like, this is going to be... Anyway, I'm going to tie it over here, but this is where the end could disappear is where my yarn is. So that's going to tell me...
What I do is I take...
I think I understand what you're telling
this
me.
side, put both needles in, slide them all the way across.
Oh,
and to where one side is on both needles and one side is on the...
But I can't try it on then.
Yes, because this sleeve will be on needles and this sleeve will be on...
Okay, I'm going to show you what I did last night and what I'm going to do right now. This is our yarn of the week, everybody. So,
it's the Mallow.
It's the Mallow. It's lovely. It's squishy. Shout out to Lucia. She is making a sweater out of it and was really surprised by, which I was too. It's easy to, because it's this really loose single ply, to potentially split it until you get the hang of it. But there's one little thread of elastic running through it, and it's fantastic, and it's so much more durable than you think a loose single ply should be.
Let me see if I can...
It's mallow like a marshmallow is how I take it.
We have an empty one that you can see the...
Well, because I made a cowl thing that no one looks at.
Yes. So here's what it looks like. And there is the elastic.
Say that louder because you're not really...
There is the elastic.
Okay. It's really cool. Like, part of what gives it any sense of ply is that elastic. Like, doing, 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 doing. It's much more stable than you'd think it is. How about while I get this on holders?
I read stats.
Yep.
Mallow is a luxurious blend of Argentine wool and baby alpaca.
Sorry.
It is
luxury.
74% wool and 24% alpaca. 2% elastic. Hand wash, lay flat to dry, all the fun.
I forgot there's alpaca in this.
Just like a tiny little bit, but it does make it softer.
But more than the elastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does make it softer.
For 75 grams, because this one's a little weird on its grams and yardages. For 75 grams, you get 198 yards.
So it looks like a 100-gram ball because it's big and fluffy. It is 75 grams. And yeah, it's weird because usually we have 50 grams or
100 grams.
Or, yeah.
Or 200 grams. Like, generally it comes in...
Yeah.
The whole,
And it looks like other, like, I could... Oh, it's not over here. I could show you a skein of the Wizard, and they look the same size. But this is just fluffy. So, here's my thing on how many balls will I need? Like if a pattern says you need so many balls, I like to find out either like, especially how many yards, but you might want to also find out grammage, that kind of thing. But 100 grams of one yarn is not equal to 100 grams of another yarn, even if they're considered the same weight category, because how they're constructed can lead to totally different yardages. And there's a range of thicknesses, because this is considered a chunky, right? Like a 5 bulky.
A 5,
yeah. People use different labels, but a number 5 kind of, if there is a stamp on it of a number. But there's a range. We've had people who've come in to buy a bulky yarn or a chunky yarn for a sweater, and they've tried 2 or 3 different yarns in our shop, and they don't work as well as the yarn it was written. They don't look like the yarn it was written for, because they're different. They're spun differently, or there's different thicknesses to them.
Or it's different fibers. Like, especially if you take a pattern that was written for wool yarn and you're like, hey, I don't want to use wool. I want to use acrylic or cotton.
Cotton especially. Cotton's heavy.
Like, we have 100 gram balls of chunky cotton that are 100 yards. That's it. So, like, if your pattern says it's going to take 5 of these, it will take way more than 5 of the cotton.
And that's 100 grams. Yep. And this is 75 grams, and it's how many yards? 198
yards, yeah.
It's not even 100 grams, but it's still considered a bulky. Yep. So, go by yardage on a pattern. Like, figure out how many yards. Do the math of... The yarn it's written for says, 109 yards per ball, and you need so many balls of it. Do that math, and then divide by the yards in one of these, and we can help you with that. But it's instead of just saying, I need 5 balls.
And always, if you want something to fit right, do a gauge swatch. Yes.
This is what I did last night. And you put a knot here too?
A little knot at the end just so it doesn't pull all the way through.
Well, the reason I did it this direction is if it does pull all the way through, I know where it has to pull back out to.
Yeah.
So I could do both. Yeah. But I put a knot on this side so it doesn't fall off. Okay. So, did we say what we're retailing?
We are retailing them for $22.50. I did not do needle and crochet range. It's a US 9 to 11, so a 5.5 to 8 millimeter needle. And crochet hooks, they're doing a K through an M, which is a 6.5 to a 9 millimeter hook.
So I'm doing, I'm knitting on size 11 needles. This is a pattern, the Lara Pullover, that was written for the Mallow by Melissa Leapman. And this side's going to be fun. My gauge
looks so pretty.
Thank you. My gauge was slightly smaller than what was called for, but the next size up needle is a 13, which jumps significant number of millimeters. So the gauge might have been totally foobarred in the other direction. So this is a little tighter than it probably should be. I'm like, there's fuzz back there. It's the end, but yeah.
I think that it fits you well, even though you don't like it being so tight.
I don't like negative ease. I don't like being like, my curves. What? Yeah. We're all our own worst critics, right? So I'm straightening out my t-shirt underneath, and then I'm pulling this down.
The length is nice, too.
Yeah. So when I block this, I'm going to measure what the length is, so when I soak it and lay it back out again, I can squish it back up to the right length. I might pull it a little more this way. This ring is getting caught on the fuzzies. But I'm almost... I think I'm at 12 inches, and we discussed last night on Virtual Sit and Stitch going to 14 before I do the bottom ribbing. I still think I'm attached to my yarn, which is why I didn't put this on before I started the show. And this is probably, with the weight hanging on it of the needles, is maybe a better indication of length than the one that's curling up, because the barber cords don't have a lot of weight. But I'm almost there. I'm so excited. This is almost done. And yeah, it's got some lace work at the top, very subtle, but nice, right? And I want to say I may be 5 balls into this. I want to say the pattern calls for 6, and I just cracked open a new one, got the hole right there. I started with the remnants of the bottom of this. I can maybe weigh it later to verify how much, like when it's done. I might be able to put it on a scale and figure out we have to divide by 75 grams to figure out how many balls are in it. I think these are balls 4 and 5, I think. But don't hold me to that, because I should be keeping better track and I'm not.
We all have our own ways of keeping track, and a lot of people do it better than us. Like, we kind of wing it.
So all the people who are like, but you're in charge and you're telling us what to do, so you should know. In theory. And I should have tags on all of my samples of what the name of the pattern is, and I haven't, since we last had our summer intern, I haven't kept up with that. Just a few things on our plates. We'll try. Just a few. I'm thinking about starting every day to tag 1 or 2 things in here, and maybe even put a price tag on it in case someone does actually want to buy it, and then they can laugh at us when they see how much we'd like for it, because they don't understand how much work went into it. So, anyway, I'm super excited to have this done soon, because honestly, it feels warm. It doesn't feel heavy. That's another thing about some of the new bulky yarns we've brought in, is the loose spin on this means, like, instead of a really tight twist with multiple plies, it's not as heavy. But the wool and the alpaca will make it warm. And it's soft. I can vouch that it's soft. Now, soft and not scratchy is a relative term for everybody. So someone might find this not as soft as I am. It's a thing. So, this lovely color is called Rainforest, I believe. Can you check that one for me? It's like a deep aqua teal gorgeousness. Every time it's appeared on my morning meditations, when I take a picture of this with my iPhone, I cannot get it to show up the way this luscious color is showing up. It's got this like luminescence to it and just a little bit of heatheriness that is so hard to explain and so hard to come across on camera.
It almost looks like some of the deep blue teals in like the ocean, when you're looking at the ocean and they're not blue and they're not teal, but it is. It's really, really pretty and super dark, and dark colors don't photograph well. They just don't. If you look at our online listing for this yarn, the other thing, as I have a thought, but I'm squirreling already, because this is, the Lara Pullover, we can probably print you off a PDF copy. It won't be like glossy fun. It will be from our printer. If you buy enough yarn to make the Lara Pullover, I'm happy to print you a copy. You can also get your own copy. I don't know if they're free, but if you buy it from the Knitting Fever website, I'll try to put the link in. If you buy it from the Knitting Fever website and you mark in that it's for our shop, we get a part of the proceeds. So I think they've opened up their PDF library I think you still have to buy it. I don't think it's free anymore. But if you mark in that we are your local yarn shop, we get a cut. So you're still supporting us, which is awesome. If you don't want to buy the yarn yet, but you want to take a look at the pattern, that's a way to do it. We're happy to print you a free copy if you buy enough yarn for the pattern, and I want to say it's like 5 or 6 skeins for almost all the sizes. It's not over here. I think I must have left the bag with all the rest. No, wait. No, that's an old bag. It's a bag with things on the frog. I got in late because I was donating my crochet for Nathalie blanket. But if you buy at least 5 skeins we will, and you tell us you want a copy of this pattern, I'll print you one. It'll be from our LaserJet or inkjet printer. So that's the level of quality it will be, but we'll send you a copy. So happy to do that. If you want a fancier copy, got to get it from Knitting Fever. Should we go over other colors? We should go over other colors. Yes. I have graphite, which is a nice light medium gray.
It's not a charcoal gray, but it is definitely lovely. Oh, the faraway point I was making, and then I totally lost track of it, is on our website, these look like they're the same color, but they're not. So I'm doing Rainforest, which is a turquoisey, tealy, aqua-y, there's some warmness to this super dark, luscious color. The other color that will look a lot like it, like when we see them in the bag, we think we've gotten the wrong color or two of the same color, is Deep Sea. Deep Sea is just a hair lighter than like a navy, basically. The heatheriness in this pulls it a little bit away from being a true super dark navy, but it's a really, really, really dark blue. So,
Raven, it's
Raven's black. Mm-hmm. And that one really doesn't have that much heatheriness to it, whereas a lot of these others don't. Speaking of no heatheriness, we have the Pearl. Pearl is just a nice cream. This is our neutrals. Raven and Pearl are the closest you're going to get to a black and a white. And a lot of yarns now, it's not going to be white, it's going to be off-white. And that is the natural, nice color without stripping it of too much of its lusciousness. So, Pearl.
Seaweed. Seaweed is...
That's like, honestly, that's probably one of my, I mean, a lot of these are my favorite colors.
It's got greens,
that's my favorite color.
It's got teals, it's got grellos.
It's like a mossy green, but it's got all these, it's got, that one I feel like has the most color texture in it.
Yes.
And I absolutely love it. But I'm happy with this. I'm loving this, but I think it was because I already had too much in the shop that was that color, but that's like my favorite color. If you want a neutral that is not the closest we have to white or off-white, the next neutral that we have is buckwheat. And I mean, yeah.
It's a light khaki.
It's a light khaki tan. Buckwheat. It is a wheaty color. And it's got a little more color texture going on, but not much more. It's almost one of the more solides. So.
I have aubergine. There's not much heather to it.
No, that one's pretty solid too.
Pretty solid.
They must have
just
made
a nice purple.
Yeah, they must have made some choices. That's a nice royal purple, in my opinion. They must have made some choices on which ones would look better heathery or not. Here's another one of my favorites, which, the 15-year-old me is throwing up at, but the adult me is like, oh, pretty. It's pink. When I was a teenager, I did not like anything pink. This is rose quartz, and it really does look like a rose quartz. It's
got the color variations from like creamy pink to just a nice pink.
To a nice, deeper, almost purpley pink.
Yeah.
But it's subtle. None of this is, shockingly bright at all. How about I'll give you that one?
Ooh.
It matches your sweater that you're knitting. Kinda.
It does.
It's a burgundy loveliness, and I think it's maybe got hints of deep purple in it, but what's the color name?
The color name is Cabernet.
Cabernet.
It's
Ooh.
a nice wine.
Think about Cabernet wine. That works. I think this is the last one. This one's called Denim, and it's a classic blue denim. It's not like the stonewashed super dark jeans. It's not like the indigo dyed jeans that are really popular right now. It's much more of a Levi's,
from
not
when we were growing up.
From when we were growing up. Yeah. It's a lighter blue, but it's pretty. It's pretty. It's not super light either. It's in the middle, like that classic blue that was the Pantone color of the year a few years ago. Do they ever really go out of style? Yes, they do, but who cares? Okay. So the other thing we would like to put on sale this week, because our winter knit along. This was Liz's idea, and it will compel me to make sure that they're all up online. Cable needles. All of the cable needles. We've got a whole range here. We'll try to hold them up real quick. Let's start with the basic and then go to the fancy. So, I mean, in essence, I'll do these in a second. Okay. I mean, they are the most, the J-hooks are the most basic, but in essence, a cable needle is a short double point. So these are the Brittany's. It's a short double point because you need to slide the stitches off of your regular needle on one end and then knit them off the cable needle. They come onto the cable needle on one end and are knit off on the other. So you need a point on both ends. And the Brittany ones, they all have a method of trying to keep your stitches from falling off this cable needle while it's holding your stitches. The Brittany one has enlarged ends, and so it can hunker in the center and hopefully not pop off the ends. And the Brittany cable needles come in a pack of 3 of different thicknesses. And it's honestly, I use all of these. Maybe minus one. But those work too. They're just not my favorite. So Brittany cable needles, this is $6.25 regular price. Everything we're showing you on today's show is 15% off through next Tuesday with the code product of the week until we film again on Wednesday. So those are the Brittany ones.
We have Lantern Moon ebony cable needles, and I'm going to hold them up close. They come in sizes 3, 6, and 8, just like a knitting needle size.
And those have notches in them. So the ebony is really...
you can see the notches.
I could see the reflection of it, kind of, when you were holding it up. The ebony's nice and slick, and the notches are another way to potentially keep your stitches from sliding off. That's not my favorite, but some people really love those. I don't tend to use those.
We are retailing them for $11.25.
Okay. Cocoa Knits makes a pack of 5 double point needles. They don't necessarily have a fancy way of keeping things on. They're a little longer than the Brittany ones. They have metal in the center, so they work with all the magnetic Cocoa Knits products. And the bamboo, using wood, is less slippery than metal. So that's one of the reasons that cable needles are often like that. These are the ones I need to get up online. You want to grab that one? Oh, sorry, the Cocoa Knits is $14.95 regular price. These are the ones I need to get up online. These are my favorite for teaching, the J hooks, because there's a definitive slide them on the short end, a slide stitches on the short end, knit them off the long end, and when...
Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I just didn't want to talk over you, sorry. When you're holding the work to the front or the back, it's totally out of the way. Really love those. They come in 2 sizes. That pack, which we only have a few left of because I've been doing classes. The smaller pack has 3 in it, and I don't think it says on there. I've checked a bunch of times what sizes. But the smaller ones are the best for most knitting. If you do chunky knitting, this has 2 bigger ones. The bigger ones are $4.75 for the whole set.
And the little ones are $3.95. I will say that the little green one in here that's the smallest out of all of them is my favorite because I can use it for every single...
It works for everything. And if anything, it's got a sharper point on it.
Yep.
They're all plastic, but they're fantastic. The fancier ones we've got a big one and 2 of the same size in here, even though they look like they're different. They're twisted differently. Prim Ergonomics... the tips have the little hook tips that Prims are known for to kind of catch your stitch and not have it fall off. The middle is like the Mr. Bend-It from when we were kids. Like, it's flexible. You can make it into any shape. I might have thrown one. Yeah, I don't know. I've got the big one here on the table. Like, this one, I want to say it's a size 6.
It'll say on the front.
Yeah, it's a 4mm. It's a US 6. What's that one?
This one is a 10.75 or 7mm.
That one's this guy. This is my favorite shape to turn it into because it's kind of a J hook, but I've got like an on and an off, and it's not super big and clunky. So you can see the hook tip. You can make this into any shape. You could have it be a straight one. It's a really long straight one. You could have it be... We don't actually sell anymore. Like, we might have them over there, but I'm not even going to put them online. Call us. If you like the one with the kink in the middle, call us for that to see if we have it.
I did not see it.
We might be... I might have just let it go, because honestly, it's not my... I mean, other people might like it, but I'd rather have the straight or the J hook. I have done with this guy a curly Q, so you slide it on and just leave it hanging there and then slide it back off. You have to keep track of what's on and off if you do that. But this is fun if you do super chunky.
The large one retails for $10.50
for only one. This one retails for $13.50 for 2. And the rubber that's over the bendy part is a little sticky in that things won't slide super easily on and off of it. But that's so your stitches don't fall off.
The last thing that I pulled, because it contains cable needles, is our magnetic knitters necklace kit. We've had them for a while. I used to use it a lot. I think they're awesome. It's a necklace with the little magnet medallion. Mm-hmm. But also with it, you get 20 stitch markers, your little pouch. You get a center scoop cable needle.
You get one with a little kink in the middle. Yep.
You get a J hook.
And you get just a straight
and then
one.
a double pointed. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you get they're all metal, so they will stick to the because it's like when you're cabling, you pick up and put down your cable needle a lot. And so it gives you a home. That's kind of the idea behind these guys,
yep.
too. But it gives you a home. That's a box for us, Liz. Do you mind going and grabbing it?
I don't. I think I know what it is.
It's feeder book.
Yes.
And you don't lose track of your cable needle. So I think that's just kind of awesome. So anyway, so if you're interested in that, we have some rose ones and some wood. They all look like wood, but there's magnet inside that wood veneer. They're $36.50. So we just got a really big order of feeder book that's not on sale this week. It's the mallow and the cable needles. And then we probably need to go because there's about 5 minutes left and I have a lesson coming and I have to get out of this thing because I'm stuck to my yarn right now. Yes. But I'm letting Liz come back over so she can say goodbye too. So I think of all of these cable-y things, this and maybe the Lantern Moon ebony needles. They might be online, they might not. I'm not sure. So the J-hook from Clover and the Lantern Moon I will get up online. And if we run out of stock of these, eventually we will get them back in. But again, they're my favorite to learn on. So we'll make sure they're up online. Shout out to Deb. She noticed they weren't online. So we'll get them up there. And all of our cable needles and the mallow will be 15% off with the code Product of the Week through next Tuesday night, like until we film again on Wednesday, basically. And 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm staring into space while I count. I think that's the 14th. Yes, it's Valentine's Day.
The 14th is Tuesday. It's Valentine's Day because my sister's birthday is the 15th.
So the 15th we'll be filming again. So you have through Valentine's Day night to take advantage of this. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Taking these with me.